By the end of this video, you're going to meet an animal so relaxed that other species just move in, and it will not even blink. We'll get there. First, somebody needs to yell. So what do you do if you're a several-ton seal and you need the entire beach to know you're serious? You grow a nose that turns your face into a subwoofer. That drooping, trunk-like snout isn't just for show. When a bull elephant seal roars, the nose inflates and acts like a built-in megaphone, a resonating chamber that makes the sound louder and lower before it ever leaves his mouth. That's the sound of nature's own sound system. Somewhere, a heavy metal singer is taking notes. And it's not just noise for noise's sake. On a crowded beach, that roar is a weapon. Rival males use it to size each other up before they ever throw a punch, in dominance fights that decide who gets the best stretch of sand, and frankly, everything else. Picture the loudest person you know at a party. Now give them an inflatable nose. That's a Tuesday on this beach. Turns out, size isn't a requirement for an ear-splitting ego, because the next animal on this list is smaller than your golden retriever and somehow louder. Look at that face. Now brace yourself because that face is about to lie to you. Koalas make one of the deepest, most guttural sounds in the entire animal kingdom. A bellow that sounds less like a marsupial and more like a diesel engine starting up in the next room. Yeah, that came from him. There is no version of that sound your brain is prepared for. The secret is a specialized extra vocal organ folded into the koala's throat, separate from the voice box every other mammal uses, and it lets the sound drop far below what an animal this size should physically be able to make. Yes, this is real. No, it is not edited audio. We checked. So, the loudmouths, handled. But some animals don't need a sound at all to be funny. They just need a face that refuses to cooperate. Quick, try looking left and right at the exact same time. You can't. This guy does it constantly, without even trying. A chameleon's eyes sit in independent turrets and can swivel and focus completely separately from each other. One eye can be watching a branch ahead while the other checks what's happening behind it. That gives it close to a full 360 degrees of vision, without turning its head even slightly. It's the only animal that can watch two different arguments at the same dinner table. Try doing that with your own eyes right now. Don't strain anything. Independent eyes are strange, but the next face on this list didn't evolve to look strange. It evolved to look thrilled to see you. If you had to design the most photogenic animal on Earth from scratch, you'd struggle to beat something that already exists. The quokka's mouth is shaped in a permanent upward curve. Not an emotion, just anatomy. And it reads to us, instantly, as a smile. Pair that face with near-zero fear of humans. On islands like Rottnest and Bald Island off Western Australia, quokkas will wander right up to people without flinching, and you've accidentally built the single most famous selfie animal on the internet. A face that can't stop smiling, attached to an animal that isn't afraid to get close enough for the photo. That's not a coincidence of marketing. It's just what happens when biology and fearlessness collide. Somewhere out there, a quokka has been in more selfies than most influencers, and it has absolutely no idea it's famous. So far, 2 loud animals, 2 strange faces. Next up, 2 animals who took work smarter, not harder, and turned it into a full lifestyle. Every sea otter has a rock. Not just a rock, the rock, its rock. Sea otters have a loose pouch of skin under each forearm, and many keep one favorite rock tucked inside it, carrying it between dives, sometimes for years, sometimes for its entire life. When it's time to eat, the otter pulls the rock out, balances it on its chest like a tiny anvil, and smashes shellfish against it until they crack open. That makes the sea otter one of the only animals on the planet known to keep and reuse the exact same tool, again and again, for life. It has better tool retention than most people's junk drawer. Think about that. You've probably lost every rock you've ever picked up. This animal has had the same one since before some of you started this video. The otter works fast and it works smart. The next animal on this list works eventually. Everything about this animal happens at one speed: slow. A sloth moves so slowly, so consistently, that algae actually starts growing directly in its fur. That algae doesn't just sit there for the ride. It turns the sloth faintly green, which works as camouflage, and it's even been found hosting its own tiny ecosystem of moths, living in the fur right alongside it. A sloth is not an animal. A sloth is a slow-moving nature, preserved with limbs. Okay, Speed's back to normal because our last two animals aren't just funny to look at. Their entire biology is doing something you will not believe. This animal has been smiling since the day it was born, and it is never, ever going to stop. That expression isn't a mood, it's neoteny. Axolotls never fully grow up. They stay in a permanent larval, juvenile form their entire lives and simply never go through metamorphosis, which locks that same cheerful mouth shape in place forever. And here's the part that should really break your brain. This same forever young animal can regrow its limbs, its spinal cord, its heart, even its brain tissue, scar-free, over and over, as many times as it needs to. Say that back to yourself. It can regrow its brain, and it does this with the exact same face the whole time. So we've had loud animals, strange-faced animals, a tool user, a slow-motion ecosystem, and something that regrows its own brain without ever losing its smile. For our last animal, we're doing the opposite of all of that. We're ending on someone who does almost nothing at all and somehow steals the entire show. Remember the animal I promised you at the start of this video? Here she is. The capybara is, by a wide margin, the most tolerant animal on this list. Birds, monkeys, rabbits, even the occasional crocodilian have all been filmed riding on it or lounging right beside it, and the capybara does not react even slightly. It's not an accident, it's closer to a deal. The rider gets an easy meal picking bugs off the capybara's skin, and the capybara gets a personal groomer it never has to ask for, which is how you end up with a nickname like nature's ottoman. You've got an entire unbothered ecosystem casually using one animal as furniture, and that animal's response, every single time, is absolutely nothing. 8 animals, every single one real. And the most chill of all of them just let another species move onto its back, rent-free. If any of these made you laugh out loud, good, that was the assignment. Subscribe for more real, sourced, ridiculous facts about our world. And tell us in the comments which animal you'd want as your spirit animal. We already know it's the capybara.